Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates for the Tuesday, August 7th, 2012 primary. I'm Dan York. On today's program, candidates for the offices of the newly redrawn U.S. House of Representatives 13th District, the State House of Representatives 11th District, and the Wayne County Sheriff's Office have been invited to appear on this program. Both the Republican and the Democratic candidates for this primary have been invited to appear on this show. Each candidate was given 5 minutes to present his or her platform. There were no restarts or retakes. Now let's take a look at the candidates that will be appearing on this program. First off, let's take a look at the U.S. Congressional 13th District, including Democrats John Conyers, John Gotchi, Chanel Jackson, Burt Johnson, Glenn Anderson, those are all Democrats, and Republican Harry Sawicki. Mr. Conyers, Mr. Gotchi, and Mr. Anderson have agreed to appear on this program. For the Michigan House of Representatives 11th District, Democrats Cody Bailey, Dorothy Webb Grady, Bill Cletus, David Kenizek, and Republican Kathleen Kopchik. Mr. Bailey, Mr. Cletus, and Mr. Kenizek have agreed to appear on this program. And for the office of Wayne County Sheriff, Democrats Mike Thomas, Mohammed Hammoud, and Benny Napoleon, along with Republicans Shelly Milton and Taras Nikoriak. Mr. Napoleon and Ms. Milton have agreed to appear on this program. Now, other offices that appear on the ballot but are not featured on this program include the United States Senate, the Wayne County Prosecuting Attorney, the Wayne County Treasurer's Office, the Wayne County Clerk, the Wayne County Register of Deeds, the Circuit Court non-incumbent position, and County Commissioner, of which Richard LeBlanc is running unopposed. There are also 3 proposals on this ballot, including the Wayne County Art Institute Authority millage, the Wayne County Jails millage renewal, and the Garden City Public Schools operating millage renewal. Now, this complete ballot with details can be found at the city's website at www.gardencitymi.org. That's www.gardencitymi.org. Now, this program will air frequently until August 7th here on GCTV, including July 20th through the 22nd and July 27th through August 5th at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m., and 11 p.m. on Comcast Channel 12, WOW Channel 18, and UVerse Channel 99. You can also watch this program on demand and streamed live on the city's website at www.gardencitymi.org/GCTV, where you can watch it streamed on Ustream or watch it on demand on YouTube. So now let's get started with the program. And again, first it'll be the U.S. Congressional seat, 13th District, and Glenn Anderson.
Hello, I'm Glenn Anderson, and I'm a Democrat running to represent you in the new 13th Congressional District. Many of you already know me since I've been your state senator for the last 6 years. My wife Gail and I live in Westland, and we've lived there for the past 34 years. We raised our 2 kids there, and now we have 2 grandchildren close by in Livonia. I'm running for Congress because this district needs a hard-working congressman who will commit 24/7 to restoring our economy and actually improving the lives of the people of the district. During my time on the Westland City Council and in the state legislature, I've seen firsthand how policies that Washington make impact lives in our state as well as our local communities. The current Congress is more interested in playing political games than addressing the problems that we face every day. I'm the best qualified candidate to bring the change that is needed, and that change can't come soon enough. There's been many untruths during this campaign told by some of my opponents, but there's one fact they won't tell you. 2 of them have the worst attendance record in the entire legislature. One has the highest number of missed votes in the Michigan Senate, and the other has the highest in the Michigan House. And now they're asking you to elect them to Congress. I don't know how about you, But I learned early on that if you don't show up for work, you get fired, not promoted. I'd urge you to go to michiganvotes.org to see for yourself. As a UAW member, I worked for Ford for 28 years, where I learned the value of hard work. I know what it's like to work every day to support a family, and I'll work hard every day to solve real problems that people are facing. My work ethic will make me stand out in Washington, and the constituent services my office will provide will be unequaled. I'm the only candidate that has both local and state government experience, having served on the Westland City Council for 9 years, improving city services, making government more responsive, and helping to get our first library built. I've sponsored legislation that protects kids' college education funds from debt collectors and co-sponsored legislation to protect our seniors from abuse. I've championed anti-bullying legislation after introducing it 7 years ago and finally seeing a bill pass. In a time of extreme partisanship, it's important to elect someone with the ability to work with different opinions. Working with others is important, but I'll always stand up for what I believe in. Like the time recently when I was the only senator to vote against the new fireworks law, which has led to endless problems over the last month. Due to a loss in population, Michigan has lost another seat in Congress, and we cannot afford to have one of those seats occupied by someone who's not working 24/7 to fight for Michigan citizens. This is no time for a bench warmer, but someone who will go to bat for us every day. We need a congressman who will be responsive to our needs. I've always made public service and service to our citizens a high priority in my office, and my reputation as a responsive legislator has led me to receive the endorsement of 60 local officials, locally elected officials all across the district. I've been endorsed by the Police Officers Association of Michigan, the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Association, and numerous firefighter locals, as well as Pipefitters Local 636. When elected, my priorities will always be to fight for our seniors, protecting Medicare and Social Security, preventing identity theft, and lowering the cost of prescriptions. I'll always stand up for our most vulnerable citizens, and those that need a helping hand. I'll never forget the people I was elected to represent, and I'll never take for granted the responsibility I have. The August 7th primary is critically important because this is an 87% Democratic base, and the winner will be certain to be our next congressman. There's 5 names on the ballot, but it comes down to me and John Conyers. He's been there 48 years, and nothing will change with him there. I need your help on August 7th, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
I'm Congressman John Conyers, and I have been in the Congress for many years, and I'm proud to have come from a union family. I was a member of Local 900 at UAW Lincoln Local. I'm a veteran, combat veteran who went to officer candidate school and served in Korea. I'm a graduate of Wayne State University, a couple of degrees, one in Bachelor of Arts, another a law degree. I've been an aide to Congressman John Dingell, which started me on the career that led me to Congress. It's been a pleasure to work for all of the people. I consider this important, that my big legislation, I have 2 jobs. One is the big legislation, the other is helping people. In the big legislation department, I have a jobs bill where I want to put everybody in America to work that wants a job. And we've got a lot of work to do. We want universal health care. We've got too many people that can't pay their medical bills. That's one of the biggest causes of bankruptcy. We want to end this rash of home foreclosures because of the subprime meltdown that created so many people losing their homes. And I do that by giving the bankruptcy judges the power to rewrite mortgages that are underwater, where the mortgage costs more than the home is actually worth. And so those are the big things I do. But the little things I do, which are important to me, is we help people when they're behind in some of their bills, in terms of getting them a little bit more time, aiding people getting some public assistance or whatever things we can do. We get into a lot of Social Security issues where we're trying to get people their full Social Security where there's been some kind of lapse. Those are the kind of things that are very important to me. One of the proudest things that I have done is that I and my staff go about getting grants. We got $22.5 million for the city of Detroit for firemen, 108 jobs in that department. $1.2 million in Dearborn for new police hiring, $400,000 in Hamtramck, and just last week we got $300,000 homeless veterans grant in Highland Park from the Department of Housing. We're good at getting those federal grants for my cities, and we want to do that for Garden City, because this is a great city that is on the mend and is doing a very good job. So what we want to do is bring the Congress and the federal government close to the city of Garden City as possible. We want to have that tight connection, and by being a senior member in the Congress and being able to work with bipartisan approach to our problems, we're able to get a lot of things done, and we're going to get a lot of things done for Garden City as they become a part of the new 13th Congressional District.
Good evening, citizens of Garden City. It is an honor and a privilege to be coming to you into your homes, and I'm going to talk to you as if I'm sitting across you in the living room. I'm not going to give you political rhetoric or sound bites. I want to talk to you straight from the heart. This upcoming election is a historic opportunity for you to have a true representative that represents your interests and not special interest in Washington. Why do I say that? I have not taken any political endorsement or any political action committee money. I'm a true grassroots campaigner, and I'm working door to door, and I have the support of the people behind me. And today I want to ask you to tune in and just listen to what I got to say. First, I want to tell a little bit about background about myself, since a lot of you may have never heard of me before. I immigrated to this country at the age of 9 with my parents and 3 siblings. My second brother was a Westland police officer. He passed away 9 years ago. His name was Gotchi. My sister, Skendia Gotchi, is a nurse at Providence Hospital and owns a small business out in Howell, Michigan, a little Coney Island. And my youngest brother, Scott Gotchi, helps me run our family business in Wayne, Michigan, US 12. When my parents came to this country, they started out washing dishes and cleaning and doing, just the hardest jobs, and I hardly ever seen them because they were always out there working for us. And now, I help take care of them as they live with me and my 4 children and my wife of 17 years. We've learned hard work, and they've taught me what hard work is all about, and that's what I do in my day-to-day life as a public servant. I work hard, I care about people, I listen to them. I don't care if they're a dishwasher or a billionaire. I treat them the same, and they have the same value and worth to me, and their word carries the same weight. If you want a true representative, I'm your guy. As I've been married 17 years, I live in Westland. I've lived there for 34 years, just a neighboring community there. We own a small business in Wayne, US 12 Chips Cantina. I have invented a video jukebox and a voting machine. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm tired of being expendable. I'm tired of being too small to fail. We're being led by a government that really doesn't value the individual anymore, and the big corporations have taken over, and special interest has taken over. And if you want to take your government back, you vote John Gotchi August 7th. If you want to know more about my individual policies and positions, my website is johngotchiforcongress.com, or you can find me on Facebook. I was also voted Our Detroit Magazine's Rising Political Star, and that was a huge honor to get from such a prestigious publication in our community. My political experience is I currently serve as a Wayne Westland Community School Vice President, and I've helped transform that school district from a rubber stamp school board to a board that serves the interests of the people and the people directly. Why I'm running? Well, I won the 7th grade field trip to Washington, D.C., and that's where I decided that's where I want to work and that's where I want to be. And I've been working to serve the people in my community ever since. We do more fundraisers in my local business in Wayne than any other candidate. Actually, you can combine all the candidates I'm running against, and I've done more community service than they have combined and given back to the community. And that's where my heart lies. And my office will always be open to you with any concern or issues. I'm not going to go there and revolutionize Washington, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there and I'm going to represent you and your interests. And if you ever have an issue, my office will always be open to you. My top 3 priorities, if you give me the privilege to serve you, will be employment. I want to make a public and private partnership through our community colleges, take the best of our unemployed workers and help fill those slots of the openings. There's 70,000 job openings, but our people don't have the skills to do those jobs, and I want to help them get that skill so they can feed their family, put food on their table. My neighbors are hurting, and I'm going to do everything I can to help them. Education is very important to me. Our state gives our kids less money than they do surrounding communities, and that's just unfair and unconstitutional. And now we use the federal pressures to make sure that the state of Michigan funds every kid equally. And as a married father of 4 living with my aging parents, public safety is very important to me. And police and fire, we need them. When we dial 911, we need to have somebody there, and a lot of our communities are cutting that short. And with your help, we can have a neighbor protect us in Congress. Thank you for your time, and God bless.
Well, hello to the citizens of Garden City. My name is Burt Johnson. I'm a state senator. I serve in the 2nd district. I've been elected now for a couple of years. The district that I serve in is on the upper east side of the city of Detroit and the surrounding region. It's very simple. If you can imagine going from Woodward over to Lake St. Clair, all of northeast Detroit, Hamtramck, Highland Park in their entireties, all 5 of the Grosse Points, and then also Harper Woods. I've got probably Michigan's most diverse district. I've got just under 300,000 people, and I have served these folks dutifully and faithfully. I also served about 2 terms, a total of 4 years, inside the Michigan House of Representatives. And in the time that I served as a representative, I was in a position known specifically as the Detroit Caucus Chairman, and that meant that everything concerning the city of Detroit, no matter what it was, federal, state, county, city issues, you name it, all of those issues came to bear into my office at first, and then I led the Detroit delegation in trying to figure out how to solve those issues, a lot of times resulting in policy, sometimes just resulting in simple advocacy. Nonetheless, it was indeed a pleasure to serve the Detroit caucus as their chairman. Prior to coming into the Michigan House, I served for 5.5 years as chief of staff to my predecessor in the House, Bill McConaughey, who is now a very successful 36th district court judge. And I came to work in Bill's office simply as a favor. Politics was not my first choice, but I came to love the people, and I certainly came to love the service that was oriented to the office. And when Bill could no longer run, there was a rallying cry in the community that I would think about running for state representative. I did. We were very successful. We ran as a 2nd-term state representative, and I won re-election. And then we stepped out on faith, and we ran and we won in the Senate district. Today, I'm talking to you because I am now a candidate in your backyard in the newly constructed, newly configured 13th Congressional District. And let me talk very specifically about the beauty of what I think the new 13th Congressional District is. I was on the redistricting committee that had the awesome task of cutting these actual lines. And now that they are cut, and now that Detroit, Highland Park, a number of cities on this side of Telegraph, Garden City, Melvindale, Wayne, Westland, Ecorse, Romulus, Inkster, River Rouge, Melvindale, and Dearborn Heights and Redford, now that we're together, it's very important that we figure out what we have in common and do away with any semblance of a discussion that pits region against city, city against suburb, and the like. I am an extremely well-rounded representative passing more legislation, and I think this is important, than any other state lawmaker, whether they served in the Senate or in the House in the past 6 years. And so that means that while I'm running against two colleagues who one serves in the House and one serves in the Senate, neither of them together could produce the type of record that I've been able to amass over the years. I went to UAD High. I went to University of Detroit Mercy. I learned how to mix with other faiths, other cultures, other people very early on in my life. And it has now become a particular asset of mine as I reach across the aisle to get things done. Sure, I'm a Democrat and I make no apologies for that. From time to time, Democrats and Republicans will all have to stand where they are to simply express their philosophies about the people that they represent. But then there's also going to come a time when you're going to have to meet in the middle to figure out how to get something passed. And I dare say that I've mastered that opportunity. I've mastered the ability to go across the aisle and make something happen for the people that I represent without going against my philosophies and certainly without selling my folks down the river. I'm looking forward to having the conversation as your next congressman, but I can only do that if in fact you bestow me the opportunity by giving me your vote. Now I know that we're meeting for the first time. And so in meeting for the first time, we've not established a type of relationship that you can yet depend on. And so I point to my track record of passing bills. When mortgage foreclosure hit Detroit and started ravaging Garden City and the rest of Southeast Michigan, I passed two bills that were the first of their type in the nation that are now commonly referred to as the Save the Dream Act. And in passing those bills, what they did was lower mortgage foreclosure by almost 39% in Wayne County. And now we're talking about regional mass transit, light rail, and bus rapid transit. Those are bills that I've passed, that I've championed, that have now put Detroit and Southeast Michigan in a position to get some great things done on transportation. If in fact you elect me, and I certainly hope you will be getting the type of representative that's always going to be with you, that's going to be fair, never going to forget about you as juxtaposed to the city of Detroit, and will make sure that I actually bring resources back from Washington, D.C. I hope to see you on doors, and I hope that you'll have me your vote. I'm State Senator Burt Johnson. I'm a candidate for the 13th Congressional District. God bless you. God bless Garden City. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cody Bailey, and I'm running for state representative in our new district, the 11th. I'm a pro-growth Democrat that, as the Observer recently stated, understands how to create jobs. My agenda is simple. We need to get people back to work. It's a three-tiered approach that has a focus on spurring small business growth, rebuilding our education system, and investing in our infrastructure. Sadly, we can no longer rely on the federal government to put in place a pro-growth agenda. It's going to be up to all of us to come together and to restore Michigan's identity as a national leader in economic strength. Currently, Michigan is ranked 33 nationally as a state for doing business. Our poor rating is due to high cost of business operations, a crumbling infrastructure, and an education system that is failing far too many. Here's what I'll do. I will go to work immediately, introducing legislation that will repeal the personal property tax on commercial equipment. I'll introduce a proposal that will be a funding mechanism to replace that revenue to ensure our public safety and education is protected and our working families and seniors aren't left out to dry. I will strongly urge that a standing committee be created on small business and entrepreneurship, providing a forum for our local, community-based businesses. As a recent college graduate and a product of our public education system, I have experience and understanding of how our education system is failing students. There is no correlation whatsoever between increased funding and better graduation rates. Sadly, some of our top spending states are performing worse than those that spend the least. Michigan, even considering the last decade of spending cuts, still ranks in the top quarter of education spending nationally. Simply put, funding isn't the problem. The way we educate is. By making college a singular goal for all students, we are failing them. We need to reinvent the way we educate. First, Let's look at consolidating excessive and costly bureaucracy, beginning with our districts. In Michigan, we have more than 535 school districts for 83 counties. If we move to a regional and county-based system similar to many other states, we can save millions of dollars annually to reinvest into the classroom. Next, we need to build a two-track education system that provides early college programs and a robust career technical education system. The end goal will be to spend the final 2 years of high school preparing our kids for the workforce, not for more standardized testing. If we work to graduate our kids with an associate's degree or a technical certificate, we are better preparing them for the further education or entry into the workforce. In addition, an early college program would save families approximately $17,000 in tuition costs per kid. Through streamlining administrative costs, reforming our education system, and ensuring we have the most effective teachers possible, we will ensure our students are truly prepared to compete in a global economy. Finally, we need to invest in our infrastructure. You and I both know our roads are crumbling, bridges are collapsing, and it costs us money. We're losing lives because of it. I have been fortunate enough to recently be endorsed by the County Road Association of Michigan. They have stated that I am extremely qualified to seek a bipartisan deal that will ensure our roads move from 25th in the nation to the top. This will spur new investment, create jobs, and grow our economy. I'm from Garden City. I love this community, and I know we can do better, and we will. I've been so humbled by the outpouring of support I've received from our state senator, Glenn Anderson, former state representative Jim Plakis, Councilwoman Jody Dodge, former mayor Ron Showalter, Ray Wysick, and many members of our Board of Education, to the dozens of local business owners and our neighbors from Vinoy to Inkster, Cherry Hill to Warren, and everywhere in between. I hope you will join with your neighbors and community leaders in supporting me for state representative in the primary on August 7th. This primary is extremely important, so be sure to grab a neighbor or a friend and head out to the polls on August 7th. And in a commitment to be more accessible to you, please feel free to give me a call anytime at 734-237-7970 or stop by our campaign office at 673 Inkster Road, just north of Cherry Hill, here in Garden City. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Bill Cletus and I'm a candidate for the 11th District State House of Representatives. I'm a lifelong resident of Garden City, and I'm widowed and remarried with 2 children, 1 stepdaughter, and 6 grandchildren. I was a member of the Garden City City Council for 7 years, and I served as Mayor Pro Tem and as Mayor from 2001 to 2003. I was also elected 6 terms as Commander of the American Legion Post 396 here in Garden City. I currently serve as the Judge Advocate for Post 396 of the American Legion, and was a co-founder for the American Legion Riders, which now has over 120,000 members nationally, serving their local communities and our veterans. I'm a member of the Polish Legion of American Veterans, St. Raphael's Church, the Knights of Columbus. I coached hockey for the Garden City Youth Athletic Association for 9 years and graduated from Garden City East High School in 1971. I was an honor graduate from a U.S. Air Force Technical School and continued my education at Schoolcraft College, where I went on to become a lifetime member of the Phi Theta Kappa International Honor Society. And I also was in manufacturing manager for 38 years in the private sector. The main concern that I have with this state is I'd like to see the revenue sharing back. Our revenue sharing is derived from sales tax dollars, and statutory revenue sharing from the state, which goes back to the local communities, is only about 1/3 of what it was 10 years ago. This revenue sharing is important to local communities because it establishes money for essential services such as police and fire, and it needs to be restored. It's like the state government cut back on revenue sharing dollars and put the cities in financial hardship, and then came back with ideas like an emergency financial manager to help them out. With 38 years in the private sector, we've seen a lot of changes. We learned to streamline processes and reduce waste, all while improving quality. We had to do it to learn how to survive. Many of these methods for reducing waste and providing a higher quality of service can be applied to our state government. We must reduce the waste in state government in order to keep needed programs for our residents and education for our young. I have a stake in this community. I never plan to leave Garden City. My children and grandchildren all live in the area, and I want my grandchildren to receive a world-class education and be able to remain here in Michigan. I never want to see the day when they come up to me and have to say, Papa, it's time to move out of Michigan because I can't find a job here. Thank you for your time.
Hi there. My name is David Kenizek. I'm running for state representative here in Garden City. I wanted to thank you for tuning in today to learn a bit more about me and why I'm running for this office. I was born and raised in Dearborn Heights. I attended St. Linus Catholic Elementary and Middle School before graduating from Crestwood High School. After 2 years of college, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps for 6 years. And during that period, I completed 2 tours of duty in Iraq, and I was decorated 25 times before retiring this May, having achieved the rank of sergeant. It was after my second tour of duty in Iraq that I re-enrolled at the University of Michigan Dearborn to complete my studies, and I also served as president of the student body while I was there. I'm running for state representative for a simple reason, and that's to restore Michigan's promise to its students, its seniors, its veterans, and middle class, while working to bring jobs back here to our state. We've heard a lot lately about how Michigan is becoming an even better place to do business, and I think that's a great thing. But what I haven't heard is any long-term discussion about what we can do to attract the next generation of businesses to our state. But we know what they look like. They're smaller, they're entrepreneurial in nature, and they require a highly skilled and educated workforce. These businesses will naturally relocate or locate where that type of workforce can be provided organically. So I believe that if Michigan retools its education system, we can expect to see not just an increase in startups, but also the expansion of current businesses and the relocation of businesses to our state, bringing with them the jobs and prosperity that we so desperately need. Retooling our education system begins by locking down the school aid fund. And this is simple. The money that we promise our students, to our teachers, and to our classrooms stays there and isn't used to plug other holes in the budget. A high-quality education also includes high-quality teachers. And I want to put the best qualified teachers at the front of the classroom through loan forgiveness or stipend programs to those students that graduate at the top of their collegiate classes and then enter into the classroom. Thirdly, this is a global economy. We have to provide a global education. This is complete with music, the arts, and foreign languages. Now, you can't talk about promises in this state without talking about Michigan's seniors and retirees. The recent tax on our pensions is nothing but a retroactive money grab by the state. I believe that if you've dedicated your entire life to make Michigan a better place to live, it's just unconscionable for you to have to try and decide between putting food on the table or buying prescription drugs that month. You can rest assured that as your state representative, I'll work each and every day to repeal the pension tax and put money back in the pockets of our seniors and retirees. Finally, Garden City is a very proud proud city. And many of us here have either served in the military or have a family member or a loved one who has. And so it's disappointing when you look at the other 49 states and territories and realize that Michigan ranks 53rd in terms of how we treat our veterans, behind Guam, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. Now, I propose a funding formula that encourages dedicated funding to our active duty military members as well as our retired veterans so that they can get the resources they need to be successful and not have to compete with one another. I also believe that our returning veterans should be paired up with transition coaches so that they can make a smooth transition back into our society and become productive members. Those are just a few reasons why I'm running for state representative this year. I hope I've had the opportunity to meet with many of you at your doors already. But if you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to visit my website, www.votekenizek.com, or feel free to give me a call. The number is 313-451-4586. Again, that's 313-451-4586. Thanks again for tuning in today, and I sincerely hope that I can count on your support in this election. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shelly Milton, and I'm running for Wayne County Sheriff. I'm not a typical politician, and this is not a political stepping stone for me. I have been a police officer for 20 years. I have taken every opportunity to learn the various divisions within my department. I worked behind the scenes in the highest levels of administration as a secretary. I worked for the River Rouge Police Department for 6 years, and now I serve on the front lines working as a sheriff's deputy. I know my department, the operations, and the people I can run the department effectively and efficiently. I serve as the member of the Sheriff's Honor Guard, and I'm an instructor at our training unit. I teach new officers and train with my coworkers. I teach the ground avoidance, ground escape, defensive tactics, and spontaneous knife defense. I also serve as the vice president on the board of directors at Creative Montessori Academy, and I have been married for 16 years to a Detroit police officer. Together we have 4 children. My goals are to reduce spending by downsizing from the top. I will focus on keeping inmates that are sentenced from other communities in the Wayne County Jail so that those other communities don't have to spend money sending the inmates or their prisoners elsewhere. Mostly, I will work with our communities and our community leaders to make every effort in keeping our streets, our neighborhoods, and our children safe. For more information, please visit my website at www.shellyforsheriff.com and my Facebook page, Shelly Milton for Wayne County Sheriff. In closing, I'd like to say that I know my department, I know its operations, and I'm confident that if you vote for me to be your sheriff, I will make the necessary improvements for the department. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wayne County Sheriff Benny Napoleon. I want to thank Mayor Randy Walker and Garden City Television for this opportunity. As a lifelong resident of Wayne County, I'm committed to serving you with integrity, and I am dedicated to making Wayne County the safest county in the state. In addition to my 37 years in law enforcement, I retired as Detroit Police Chief, have extensive training at the state, local, and federal levels, earned my Juris Doctorate from Michigan State University College of Law. I'm a licensed attorney, was a professor of criminal justice, and a former mentor and youth coach. This is a critical time in our county. We have 43 cities and municipalities, including Garden City. Budget constraints are forcing officials to cut city services and, in some areas, public safety. I help supplement law enforcement efforts as the need and resources allow. You need an experienced leader who has demonstrated fiscal and administrative responsibility, someone who has regional alliances as I have. Your safety is my highest priority. In 2009, I analyzed the operations of the Sheriff's Office and found several areas where we can reduce the bottom line. First, overtime. Here's the problem. In order of the court says that a set number of officers are to monitor a set number of inmates. We're only budgeted for the exact number of officers needed to staff the jails, with no additional money provided for illness, vacation, family leave, and so on. While the inmate population isn't supposed to exceed a certain level, it does, by nearly 300 a day due to violent offenders. As a result, the Director of Jails under Judge Michael Sapala retains the inmates for safety reasons. Because of this, additional officers must be assigned, which leads to overtime. The only way to hire is to fund a jailers training academy. Because I don't control my budget and because my requests for funding have not been filled in a timely fashion, overtime remains an issue. Nonetheless, I will continue to seek funding to add more academy classes in the interest of safety and fiscal responsibility. However, I refuse to release dangerous criminals onto the streets of this county. There are some nonviolent inmates, based on a review of their cases, who are eligible to be released on tether. By transitioning inmates from jail to GPS monitoring, we're able to save $140 a day to house an inmate down to $25 a day. With an average 500 participants a day on electronic monitoring, we're saving over $50,500 a day, or $21 million each year. Unfortunately, over half of the inmates in the jail show signs of mental illness. Earlier diagnosis of an inmate's mental health status would allow them to be properly medicated sooner. However, the medical personnel to perform this task is vastly insufficient. Incarceration isn't the answer. Proper funding for mental health services would greatly reduce their recidivism and the attached expenditures. I am committed to addressing this critical issue that affects us all in one way or another. The new consolidated jail will end redundant operations. Just think, does it make good economic sense to run 3 kitchens, 3 laundries, or 3 prisoner intake units? By merging these operations and increasing technology, it's projected we can save taxpayers between $20 and $30 million a year. I'm also working to launch virtual visitations. New technology will allow a prisoner to meet electronically with relatives and legal counsel and even make court appearances without leaving the jail. Since taking office, my investigators have conducted nearly 200 drug raids, arrested more than 165 dealers and customers, busted marijuana grow operations and confiscated more than 2,500 plants, confiscated nearly 40,000 grams of pot, heroin, and cocaine, and over 2,600 illegal pills, seized 140 illegal firearms and over $500,000 in illegal drug money. I continue to provide skilled officers to our 43 municipalities to investigate web predators and deed fraud, patrols on secondary roads and along 38 miles of our international waterways. In closing, public safety is my highest priority. I have the proven leadership to lead this agency. You don't need or want an inexperienced individual in charge when we're facing cuts to law enforcement in our cities, growing crime in our neighborhoods, and continued threats of terrorism at our airports and on our international waterways. I have experience needed to secure the jails, courts, and our communities. You can sleep better at night with me on the job 24/7. With your vote, I will continue working toward the highest quality of life for all of our citizens. Thank you for your time and support. I need your vote.
Thank you very much for watching Meet the Candidates, and my thanks to all of the candidates who agreed to appear on this program. Don't forget that this program will be seen throughout the election season up through August 7th. You can watch it right here on GCTV or watch it streamed on Ustream or watch it on demand on YouTube. Make sure that you get out and vote on August 7th. I'm Dan York. Thanks very much for watching, and good night, everyone.